on fire to the studio mics. Tune in weekly, we're dropping the spikes. Analyzing every punch, every kick that lands. Maniacs in the game, playing with fans' demands. Ken's got the insight, Joe's got the flair. Mapping out the fights will take you anywhere. So grab your popcorn, buckle up tight.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
What's up? What's up? Back after a short hiatus. It's the MMAniacs podcast, joined as always by Bare Knuckle Ken. What's up, buddy?
Oh, not too much. How you doing today, man?
We apologize to the fans and viewers. We were not on the air last week. I had some stuff come up, and I just wasn't able to make it. But we're back, and we're back just in time. This weekend, we got a big card. But before we get into mixed martial arts, I was just talking to before we went live, I was talking to Ken about I'm actually looking at buying an antique wakizashi, which is a Japanese sword. Like when you see like the old samurai and stuff, how they had two swords on their hip, right? The long one was the katana. The shorter one is called a wakizashi. It was made for fighting indoors. And I'm actually looking at buying like an antique, it's called Nihonto, an antique wakizashi from like the 15 or 1600s, and with period koshire, which is like the scabbard and the fittings and everything. They're all like over almost 300. The fittings are like 300 years old, but the sword is like probably 400 and something years old. So, it's all I've been able to think about since yesterday, man. Like I've been like talking to these experts that in the field that I know, and like there's a bunch of guys that have swords in the price range that I'm looking to spend as a beginner that are sending me pictures and stuff. So I'm like bouncing it off these experts. I don't know. I know it's an MMA show, but like I've always been
kind of fits a little bit.
I've always been enthralled with the samurai culture, like, the Bushido, and like, I'm a martial artist, and so I, it's I've always wanted, and it's finally like I finally have the money to make it come true. So I'm like looking forward to that, and I'm looking for something that's functional, like I was telling you, Ken, like something that's functional, because I'm not allowed to have guns because I made a mistake when I was 18. So this is my new home protection model. And I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like if some poor asshole was to break into my house with a wakizashi, like he's probably going to change his mind, like.
I mean, as long as he doesn't have a gun, then, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, if he has a gun, then, what was going to happen was going to happen anyway, you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah. but if he has, if he doesn't have a gun and I have a wakizashi, like, I mean, are you going to continue to break into that house, or are you going to be like,
well, I'm not going to break into the house in the first place, but if I'm that guy, I'm going to be, I'm going to think they're going to look at that as about the same way as when a burglar breaks in and they hear that 12 gauge rack.
Yeah. Except like, with a 12 gauge, you're going to get your head blown off. You probably won't feel it. With a wakizashi, something's getting cut off, and you're going to sit there and bleed to death.
Yeah, that's if you're shooting in the head. I'm going straight for the belly. You're feeling every bit of this.
Yeah, like, ooh. But, yeah, dude. So, anyways, I'm just waiting for these experts to get back to me on, if this is a worthwhile. I have a couple of swords that I'm looking at, and I'm just, like, really excited, dude. Like, because, I'm not I respect it. Like, so an interesting thing that I found out in the sword collecting market, right? If you tell people that you plan to use it as like home protection, people really tend to frown on that because these are antiques, and they're like but I tried to explain, it's not like I'm going to go out and chop fucking trees, dude. Like, I understand that this piece is several hundred years old.
You're using it how it was designed to be used.
And see, you have the exact thought that I do. Like, they're like, oh, you're disrespecting a piece of history. And I'm like, no, I don't feel that way. I feel that I'm actually, like, I'm using it for what it was intended for. Like, it was made for a samurai to kill. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm actually honoring the sword by using it for what it was made for. Like, you know, in the 1600s, if you broke into a samurai's house, he didn't have a gun. He went and got the wakizashi, and he's like, okay, motherfucker, like, come on in, you know? And that's how I'm gonna be. It's like, I'm not taking it out to cut tatami mats or to, like, show off my, you know, cut hot dogs in half and fucking, you know, impress my friends. Like, you know, I have respect for the weapon. It's something that's made to kill, and you know, it probably has killed in its time. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, it's like I'm actually showing it the ultimate respect by still using it for what it was made for, and in my opinion. But
I'm
but
100%
those
with
guys
you.
do not agree. They do not agree at all.
Well,
So
they think it should be in a case behind some glass or freaking stapled up to the wall.
yeah. So yeah, Derek Lewis. That was a terrible stoppage, though. I have to admit, like, the Brazilian dude got back to his feet, and to me, it was a terrible stoppage, but Lewis got the win. But yeah, dude. So the sword collecting community, it's a very small community, and they're very tight knit. One good thing about that is that if you're an asshole on eBay that's selling fake swords, like, you're gonna get blasted, like, you're gonna get called out, and you know, there's so they did take that part of samurai culture about honor, like, they don't want to see people get ripped off, and so, you know, you have guys with 30 years of experience that are willing to share their knowledge with you at no charge. You know, like, anytime you can text these guys or you can message them and be like, hey, I'm looking at this piece, what do you think of it? And they'll send you an honest opinion. And you know, like, so there, that part of it's cool. Of course, I didn't bother to tell them that I plan to use it as home protection because I don't want them to kick me out of the group and start hating me. But what they don't know don't hurt them, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was a terrible stoppage. Teixeira could have continued. But, you know, he's a young guy. He'll get another chance. You know, going into this week, though, you know, on the 19th, we got the card, Dustin Poirier's last, quote-unquote, last fight with Max Holloway. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the whole card. So let's start at the bottom of the card. We'll save the main event for last. So Ken, can you pull up that 318 card?
All right, here we go. Let me to the comment before we start.
Yeah, see, I'm not the only one. Brent's got it too, man. Like, a sword is, you know, I look at it this way. Yeah, we have guns now, right? But a sword was home defense for thousands of years, dude. Like, there's a reason that there's still swords around. You know what I mean? There's a reason that people still make swords. Like, you know, in close quarters combat, it's better to have one than not.
Yo, absolutely. Shit, I think it's within 21 feet or something, somewhere around that range. You actually have better odds with a bladed weapon than you do a gun.
Yeah, that's why the cops are taught to shoot. If you break into that 25-foot or 21-foot radius, they're taught to shoot right then because you can close the distance so fast, you know? So, yeah. I don't know. What kind of sword did you get, Brent? Because I'm going for a traditional, I'm going for an antique Japanese sword, a wakizashi.
Shit, if I didn't have it downstairs, I'd break out mine. I got one of the old captain swords. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wait. I might actually have... Granted, this one's only a replica. I got a dagger around here somewhere of, like, medieval shit. Where the hell did I put that bitch? I know exactly.
You got to get you a Japanese sword, Ken.
Oh, I used to have a katana, like a full one where the blade goes straight down through the hilt. but one of my buddies is super into swords, and he didn't have a katana, so I figured, he's going to respect it more to where it means a lot to him, to where me, it was just cool to have a katana.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you ever have an extra $500 laying around, you can get, like I said, there's a flood on the market of antique, authentic wakizashis. I mean, you're not going to get like you're not going to get Kuroshai, like Kuroshai, the scabbard and stuff generally, but it'll be in Shirasaya, which is that wooden case. But for $500, man, for a legit like 400-year-old sword that still works, which MMA fighter do I think I can take down? Man, I'm a one-stripe white belt, so I don't think there's. Who knows? I mean, maybe one of the 125ers. If I just lay my weight on them, I don't know. But they're so fast, like I might not even get my hands on them. I don't know. I don't claim to be a fighter, Sarah. Like I don't claim to be an MMA fighter. I train jiu-jitsu, but Stephanie, who's Stephanie?
His friend there that's going to have.
Oh, hey, she might, man. No, dude, Patty's jiu-jitsu. What do you need to go back and watch Patty, man. Patty's jiu-jitsu is something else, bro. Like
This is the dagger that I got. Old medieval knight style. Granted, it's just a replica for display purposes. It's one of those that has no edge to it.
See, you got to get you a functional weapon, kid.
Oh, that's what the captain's sword is. Well, hold on. Let me rephrase that. I have many functional weapons, but I get to keep my distance with them.
Yeah. Well, take a look at it, man. If if you ever, like I said, have an extra $500 burning a hole in your pocket, I can point you in the right direction to some people who can, you can get make sure you get a legit one. It might not be papered. When a sword is only worth like $500-600, they're not going to spend the money to paper it, But it's like, you'll have experts like that can confirm that it's, it's from this period. It might not have a maker.
And it's pretty much a glorified movie prop. I was gonna say it's literally just there because it looks cool. But
maybe when I get my Wakizashi, maybe I'll show you.
Plated.
Maybe when I get my Wakizashi, maybe I'll pull it out on the show one time. Show you guys what I'm talking about. It's always just two of us.
Yeah, every so often we'll have somebody from the comments joining in. But yeah, really just us two. I was gonna say, you're always welcome to join it if you know anything about MMA at all.
But that comes with a caveat. If you're a clown, we're gonna just ban you. We're gonna kick you out.
No.
If you come on there,
I was gonna say
I'm not talking to him in particular. I'm talking to anyone. Like if we let you on the show and you don't know what you're talking about, we're just gonna kick you off the show. Like you can still watch, but if you want, but we're just not gonna we're not gonna have you make a clown out of yourself or us. But so that 318 card, did you have it up?
Yep.
So what are we looking at? I know that there's some good fights on there. I know Dan Ige. I think Dan Ige is fighting on that card.
Yep. He is the second fight with Patricio Pitbull.
Ooh, so let's go with the first fight.
Okay, Michael Johnson versus Daniel Zellhuber.
Yeah, Zellhuber. Okay, so Zellhuber, I think he's from Mexico. I think he's a Mexican fighter, and he's a young guy, and he's had a couple losses in the UFC, but he's had some good wins.
I'm not sure if this fight's happening or not, because when I just went to click on Zellhuber's name, it shows up that it's canceled. Ooh. But when you're looking at the actual card, it doesn't say it's canceled. So that one's a maybe.
Okay. So somebody pulled out.
Hey, you're good, Yisner. You say, dude knows his football.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. See, was it a legit katana? Like it wasn't a Chinese reproduction or anything, or like a legit antique Nihonto katana? Because if it was, like, I would be on a 47 Ronin type mission to get that shit back.
Yeah, okay. Let me phrase this properly. The katana that I gave my buddy wasn't some historical piece. This was a bladesmith that made it.
Oh, well, those are actually highly valued. I mean, to get a sword made in the traditional Japanese way now is cost you about $30,000 to $50,000,
Holy
like for a modern
shit.
sword. But it's made from
Apparently, I got
Tamahagami.
it at the right fucking time. Granted, that was like 15 years ago.
And it depends on who makes it. I mean, if it's an American or, but we're like in Japan, you cannot call it Nihonto unless you actually use the old forging methods, and it's forged completely from Tamahagane, which is the Japanese steel that comes from their iron ore. They have a very specific iron ore in Japan, and it's got either a very low or a very high carbon content. I don't know which one, but they have to go through, and the swordsmith basically collects the pieces of Tamahagane that he wants, that he thinks will make a good sword, and then they forge that into a bar, and then they hammer out the bar. There's very specific methods to the forging. It has to be a coal forge with a bellows. It has to, they have to use like rice chaff, and they wrap it in this special rice paper, and then they cover it with rice chaff when they stick it into the forge, and it controls temperature. It does something. There's a whole documentary on it. If any of you are into Japanese swords, there's a documentary on YouTube called Secret of the Japanese Sword, and it's about 45 minutes or an hour long, but it shows you, like, they have a master sword maker, a modern master sword maker, who he forges a sword from start to finish. Like, you see him picking the pieces of Tamahagane and everything, and like you get to see how it was done traditionally, how they get the hamon, everything like that. It's really interesting. It's called Secret of the Japanese Swordsmith, I think. It's on YouTube. But so anyways, yeah. So Zell Huber and Michael Johnson. That would have been a good fight. If it's still on, it will be a good fight. Michael Johnson is old. He's on the downside of his career for sure, but he's still dangerous. What do you mean? What's folding the metal?
Yeah.
The hammer.
Yeah. I know. I'm assuming he's asking the process of it. Like, what does that mean to fold the metal?
Oh, so basically you take the bar and you hammer it out to a longer bar, and then you fold it over using your hammer, and because like the master swordsmith, he has apprentices, right? And what they'll do every once in a while, like when they're hammering, they dip their hammer in water, and then they strike the red hot steel, right? But the master swordsmith doesn't actually do he doesn't do much of the hammering. He has this this rod that he hits the anvil with, and he uses that to time the hammer strokes of his apprentices. So they have to they go along with his timing, and they hammer according to the master's timing. And it's like I said, man, I don't want to give the whole thing away, but if you want to watch something interesting about how swords are made, traditional Japanese swords are made. Yes, antique Nihonto are always quenched in water. That's what gives them their signature curve. The katanas and the ashis, they curve because of cooling and the way that the water interacts with the hot steel. It's very interesting. And then so before there's the hamon, which the hamon is that So with a Japanese sword, one of the things that makes a Japanese sword one of the best weapons ever is that it has a hardened edge, but the back of the sword, the spine of the sword is softer, which allows it to flex and to bend without bending, right? Like it doesn't warp, or I should say, better the way to say it, to bend without warping. So when it cuts through something, the sword can flex and like move through without warping the sword. And it's because of the spine is softer metal. And the way they do that is they apply this clay slurry mixture to the edge of the sword, and there's different patterns that you can use for applying the clay, and that will determine the hamon, which is that that wavy pattern that you see along the edge of the blade. It's called hamon. And so different schools of swordsmiths have different hamons and the different hamon styles. And so it's all like in how you apply the clay. And then they heat up the sword, they temper the sword, and then they quench it, and then they polish it, sharpen and polish it. So anyways, yeah, it's very interesting stuff if you're into that sort of thing, which I am. You know, like I said, as a martial artist, I appreciate weapons, especially well-made weapons, and the fact that you can have a sword 400 years old and it still can cut today like it did, you know, 400 years ago. Like it speaks to leadership, and not just the craftsmanship, but the skill of the swordsmith. Like, you know, as a martial artist, I respect that. Like, because martial arts is the same thing. It's about dedicating yourself to the perfection of a craft, right? And so, anyway, and plus, you know, swords, the art of the sword and martial arts go hand in hand, right? They both come from, you know, well, I wouldn't say come from. Martial arts was actually invented in China, but, you know, certain martial arts, especially jiu-jitsu, was invented in Japan, and it was specifically the fighting method of the samurai. It was one of I got into this before about the history of jiu-jitsu. Anyway, so back, I got swords on the brain, dude, right now. But I have to be careful on what I spend, or else my wife will end up using it on me when I'm sleeping.
If she does, let me know, and I'll set up the StreamYard and all that, because we're going to get some awesome views for that, buddy.
I have to hope I can dodge the first shot and get her down. Once I get her down, you're in my world, squirrel. You know what I mean? Like, once I get her down, I'm applying heavy top pressure and I'm armbarring the shit out of her. But, you know, like, I don't think the takedown will be too hard either. It's just I got to dodge that first sword stroke, and I'm not very nimble. So,
so in other words, you're going to have to eat one day to give one.
Yeah, but I mean, with an authentic Nihanto, I don't know if you're going to eat one, dude. Like, you know, you're gonna lose something, dude. It's just a matter of, can I get her before I bleed out? But anyway, so the Zellhuber fight might be canceled. That's unfortunate, because that would have been a good fight. Hopefully it's still on. But Dan Ige and Patricio Pitbull, that should be a good fight too. Ige is a very entertaining fighter. His nickname is 50K because of the 50K performance bonuses that UFC give. So it's Dan 50K Ige. He's Hawaiian, and he's from a town on Oahu called Haleiwa. And Haleiwa, I've been there before when I went to Oahu with my wife and my kids. There's a restaurant there. It's called Surf and Salsa. And you wouldn't think this, right? Because it's Hawaii. I mean, well, maybe you would, because it's Hawaii, so there's lots of fish. But Hawaii isn't the first place you think of when you think of fish tacos, right? But let me tell you, this place called Surf and Salsa in Haleiwa on Oahu has the best fish tacos I ever had in my life, dude. Like, it's not even close. You can go to any Mexican restaurant in the world, and they're not going to have fish tacos like that. They use mahi-mahi, and it's like you get a really good, like, big chunk of fish, you know? and the salsas are good. I would suggest if you ever go, get at least 2 tacos so you can get one with the red salsa and one with the green salsa because they're both phenomenal, and the price is good. But he's from Haliva, and he's a tough dude. Um, he's got good stand up. His ground game is pretty good too. I mean, he's not a Patty or a he's not an Ian Machado Gary or a Shavkat Rachmanov. Like, he's not going to dominate you on the ground like that, but he's competent. He can get back to his feet from a chin. He can choke you out, but he really makes his money on the stand-up. He puts on entertaining fights. And Pitbull, he's coming off a loss in his first UFC fight, right? So he's going to be hungry for a win. That should be an entertaining fight.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get to see more out of Pitbull this time because his UFC debut was a little underwhelming. Watching, what organization was it that he was a part of before that?
Bellator, I think.
Okay, because watching those highlights from Bellator there, man, I thought this guy was gonna come in and not like fully light the world on fire, but have a decent amount behind him. And to me, he fell flat on his face.
I totally agree. I think his performance was lackluster, to say the least. But, I mean, it was his UFC debut. It's like you finally made it to the big time. I think he was playing it safe, if I'm being honest. I think, he didn't want to take the risks because, think about it. You were the Bellator champion, and then you're coming to the UFC. If you get knocked out ugly in your opening fight, it's like automatically assume you don't deserve to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who you're fighting, right? Like, if you get knocked out ugly, the first assumption that casual fans are going to make is, I guess he's not UFC material, right? Which isn't necessarily fair, but that's just what they're going to think.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he played it safe, and I think he'll turn. I think now, having lost his first fight in the UFC, I think he's going to turn it on. I really do think that he'll. I really do think that he'll put on a better performance this time, and I think Ige is a good test for him because Ige's in the top. He's in the top 10. I don't know. He might be like number 8 or something. Number 7.
What weight class is he in again?
It's featherweight, isn't it?
Featherweight. Okay.
I think it's featherweight, 145.
He's 11.
Number 11. Okay. Yep. So he's just outside the top 10. It's a good test for Pitbull because if he beats him, and he beats him convincingly, he jumps into the top 10. If he doesn't, then obviously he's not meant to be around. This is a very good, but it's not going to be an easy fight. Either way, Ige is a tough dude. He can take a punch. He's not going to quit. So it'll be an interesting. I expect it to be a stand-up affair. All of a sudden, I got the hiccups, man. Yeah, I expect it to be a stand-up affair. But if Ige starts to get the best of him, maybe Patricio will try to wrestle. Who knows? Or if Patricio's getting the best of Ige on the feet, maybe, we'll see. But I expect it to be mostly a stand-up affair. Yeah. I think there are a couple of factors that push it that way. Number one is Dan Ige's fighting style. He's always looking for the 50K. He wants that performance of the night or fight of the night bonus. So he's going to push the pace. Number two, Patricio is coming off a really lackluster performance where he didn't really throw a lot of punches or put himself out there. He didn't risk too much. And I think, you're at the point now, 2 consecutive losses is not going to, you're in danger of being cut from the UFC at that point. So he's got to leave it all out there. and I think it's in his best interest to do so, win or lose. Because if he goes out there and he puts on a good performance and loses to Dan Ige, there's no shame in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's about making fans. That's the thing, is he's gotta sell out and make fans just to stick around. You know what I mean? Then they can worry about putting him in other fights, but he's got to really put on a show.
Oh yeah.
So
Because leading up to his first fight, I was fully on the hype train, waiting to see this debut is going to be awesome. He's going to knock him out like he was knocking out all of those other guys in Bellator there, and I'm fully hopped off that train now because he didn't show me that he belongs in the UFC yet.
yeah. Well, like I said, I think he was just afraid to risk too much. If I'm being honest, which, like, that's reasonable, but it's not reasonable at the same time. You finally made it to the big time, and your first performance was a dud. Like, but I can't say for sure that that's what he was thinking, but I can't help but feel like he was thinking, if I go out here and get knocked out ugly in my first fight, people are going to think I don't belong here, and you know what I mean? I'm going to get cut. Like, so it's better to play it safe and go to a decision, win or lose, because at least I'll be around for another. But now he's really got to turn it on. So we'll see what happens. But that should be an entertaining fight either way. I think the pressure is on for Pitbull. Like, he's going to have to make a fight. And Ige is going to be more than eager to make that fight with him. So, like, Ige is not going to be circling around the cage, backing away. He's going to be forward. So that'll be interesting. What's the next fight on the card?
The next one is Kevin Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez.
Ooh.
Uh-huh. Holland impressed me with that last fight that he just had.
Yeah. The thing about Kevin Holland, though, and I like Kevin Holland, don't get me wrong. Like, number one, I like that he's a kung fu fighter. Mm-hmm. Like, there aren't many kung fu guys, right? He's a kung fu guy. I like that. He's an entertaining guy. Like, he's a character outside of the octagon. He's a funny guy. But every time that he gets in that cage, it's like, I don't know, man. He's a fighter at best. He wins one, loses two, wins one, loses one, wins one. He doesn't do well against grapplers. It'll be interesting to see how he handles Rodriguez, because Rodriguez is, I don't know. That's going to be an interesting fight. If it stays standing up, then I give Holland a real chance. Like, he's explosive. He's got good striking, but I mean, Hamzat just dog walked him, dude. Like, did you see that Hamzat versus Holland fight?
I don't think I did.
Hamzat literally ran across the cage, double-legged him, and just wrestle-humped him and tapped him out in the first round, dude. Like, dominated. Holland didn't even get a chance to throw a strike. Hamzat just dog-walked him. So, yeah, we'll see. I hope that ends up being a stand-up fight too. So what's the next one?
Is the co-main event with Paulo Costa and Roman Kopylov.
Roman Kopylov. Okay. I'm not terribly impressed with the co-main event. Costa's been washed. Like, it's unfortunate too, because I used to really like Costa, but he just doesn't have it anymore, and now Costa is a gatekeeper, and I don't like how the UFC uses him. They use him as a gatekeeper, and like, Costa should just retire at this point with some of his dignity and the respect still intact. But he's probably like trying to build his retirement fund, like, to where when he quits, he never has to fight again. But yeah, I'm going Kapilov in that fight. What's the money line on that fight? I wouldn't be surprised if Kapilov is a heavy favorite.
Yeah, right. Once it decides to load.
Oh, your phone has the circle of death too.
It seems like every piece of technology I use has a circle of death. All right. Paulo is plus 190, and Koplyov is minus 230.
That's not as bad as I thought. Okay, so they're giving Costa a chance. I mean, plus 190. That's not bad.
Wow. The money line for Holland versus Rodriguez is a huge gap. Holland's minus 500, and Rodriguez is plus 380.
Man, I'm tempted to say it because, but I'm kind of like, my hand is still burning from the Juliana fight where I said, dude, that's good action. I'm kind of like,
I was going to say, I don't know how many people are taking betting advice from me after that one.
Well, but I mean, you remember I told him drop $25. I didn't say go bet the house,
50 is what you said.
Yeah, but I said on two different bets though, 25 on each bet. Okay. So, all the way up to 100. Like if you were willing to go by rounds, and it's like $100. People lose that all the time. I didn't say bet the house, and the reason I said bet 100 was so that you could cover 4 different rounds, and if you would have hit on any of those rounds, that $25 would have turned into like 2,500. So, with this one, it's not quite the same, but so Holland is minus 500.
Yep.
That's so you don't want to bet straight up on the money line. You said Rodriguez is minus or plus 400 and something?
Plus 380.
Plus 380. So you win 300. If you bet 100, you win $380. I don't like that. That's not. I mean, there's action there, right? Like, I like Rodriguez's chances, and so if you wanted to drop $25-$50 on the money line, you could. But what are the prop bets? Because I would be more interested in the prop bets.
Yeah, this one isn't showing the prop bets. It's just showing the straight money line.
Oh yeah, you got to go to DraftKings for prop bets. Ah, dude with the sword just hit me back. Oh boy. But I'm still waiting. The judges are still out. Or the jury is still out. I'm waiting on the experts to hit me back and tell me what they think. But if I can get this sword for the right price, I might be able to get a stand too. Like an antique stand. That would be dope.
Okay. Now you got Kevin Holland to win by knockout, TKO, or DQ plus 175. Holland win by submission plus 240. Holland by decision plus 240. A draws plus 5,000. Rodriguez to win by knockout, TKO, or DQs plus 900. Rodriguez to win by submission is plus 2,500.
Mm-hmm.
And Rodriguez to win by decision is plus 800.
So, I mean, think about it, dude. Plus 2,500. You know, so it's like if you dropped $100 on him to win by what was that, by submission, and
Uh,
he wins by submission, you just won $2,500. Now, if you're not comfortable with $100, no, see, I'm telling you, Brent, stay away from plus 380, man. Go with the prop bets. Like if you're gonna bet on her Rodriguez,
yep.
if you're gonna bet on Rodriguez, bet the prop bets, man. Because like you got him to win by knockout is how much? It's like plus 800,
900.
plus 900, right? So him to win by submission is plus 2,500.
Holy shit! For Rodriguez to win by submission in round 1 is plus 5,000. Round 2 is plus 6,000, and round 3 is plus 7,500. My
I mean,
God, that to me that's almost worth the $100 flyer.
like I said, man, like because even if you only put $33 on it or 35, right? Like a third of 100, that's still your $30 will turn into 2,500. If he wins by submission. But there's a reason the odds are that long. I have to point out there's a reason that it's plus 7,500. That it's probably not going to happen. But Kevin Holland has been submitted before.
Been submitted a few times.
And so we'll see. And plus Kevin Holland is a 50-50 fighter. Like he wins one, he loses one. And like Ken said, Ken was impressed with his last fight, which was a win. So if we're going by the pattern,
and not only that, it was a submission win too.
So I'm just saying, dude, like there's action there, but whatever. And then finally, we only got like minutes left. Let's get to the main event because you and I have been talking about the fight for a while.
Oh yeah. And before I get to that, and I know it's a little bit clickbaity, but Max had said that he might be reenacting his last BMF fight by pointing to the center of the ring and fighting that one right square dead center in the cage.
I hope to God he does because he's going to get knocked the fuck out.
That's going to be a fucking banger.
Yeah, for as long as it lasts. Because if he points to the middle of the octagon with Dustin, he's getting K'd. I'm here to tell you, dude, like Dustin has already. So they fought early on in Max's career when they were both really young, and Dustin beat him with he got him in a mounted triangle and then double attacked the arm. It was beautiful. And Max's arm, it bent the wrong way. It looked nasty. I thought it was broken. And Max tapped. The second fight, Max moved up to 155 for one. Like he was a featherweight, but he moved up to 155 to fight Dustin. And Max was a pudgy 55. He didn't look good at 55. And Dustin beat the piss out of him. This fight, Max is a legit 155. And, he went down to 45 to fight Topuria. He got knocked out. But, at 55, he looked excellent against Gaethje. Max looks good at 55. So this is going to be a completely different fight, in my opinion. Max has filled into 55. It's not on short notice. He's not spending, his camp trying to gain weight. Like he's a conditioned and ready 55. Dustin, it's his last fight, allegedly, right? I don't believe that for 1 second. I think if Dustin wins this fight, I think there's a good chance that he fights Topuria next. I think that the UFC will offer him that because Dustin is a fan favorite. And this is the first time in...
No, we got a frozen Joe.
Yeah. So this is the first time really in Dustin's career that the lightweight champion is not super grappler. You know what I mean? Like Topuria can wrestle, don't get me wrong, but he's not Islam,
Yeah.
and he's not Khabib, and he's not Charles on the ground. You know, so that's going to be a banger stand-up fight. Can Ilya knock out Dustin? Absolutely. Can Dustin knock out Ilya? Absolutely. I see you shaking your head there.
Are we
Ken.
going to say we'll say it's a possibility because he hasn't been knocked out yet, has he?
Well, he hasn't been beaten yet, but has he really had his chin tested? No. See, that's the thing, is that Max, as good of a boxer as Max is, Max doesn't have one punch KO power.
Yeah.
Volkanovski, he doesn't have KO power. He's a volume. These are volume strikers that he's dealing with. Dustin has legit power. Like, you know, maybe not one hit and you're sleeping, but one hit you're stumbling around the octagon, and then he can put you out. So the power advantage definitely goes to Topuria, but it's not as wide as it is with Max and with Volk. Like, you know, Dustin's up there in power too. So I think that, and Dustin is a very good boxer. And as quiet as it's kept, Dustin is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and a legit black belt. I asked my professor the other day, because we talk about the fights. I said, hey, this weekend, Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway. He said, oh, that's a good fight. That's a good fight. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be a good fight. Who do you think's going to win? And he went like this. He's like, I don't know. Like, you know, he's like, I could see both. Like, Max could win, Dustin could win. And I was like, yeah, you know, I really like Dustin, man. And he's like, me too. I like Dustin. And I asked him, what do you think of his jiu-jitsu? And he said, it's good. It's good. Like, Dustin's jiu-jitsu kind of gets overlooked. People kind of assume that, or they talk shit about his jiu-jitsu because he got out grappled by Khabib and out grappled by Islam. But I'll put it this way, like, I have all the respect in the world for my professor. I know my professor is as legit as they come. He's 6th degree. He's been doing this shit for 40 years, damn near, dude. Like, he's as legit as they come. So if he says that Dustin is a legit black belt, like, if he says he's got good jiu-jitsu, I'm going to take his word for it, dude. You know? And I mean, I already knew that he was a black belt, but I'm just saying, like, that Ilya can wrestle, but is Ilya a legit black belt? We don't know. What happens if the fight goes to the ground? You gonna look it up right now?
Yeah, I'm looking to see because
I don't think he is.
Yeah, I'd like to see what the hell he is.
I think he comes from a wrestling background.
I thought he had some type of jiu-jitsu.
He might. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I thought he came from a wrestling background.
Oh no, he's a black belt.
Under who?
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm interested to know who he trained with.
Augustin Clement at the Clement Club. He got it in 2018. But he does also have Greco-Roman wrestling background too. Oh, We got a frozen Joe again.
No, I'm back.
Okay. Were you able to hear what I said or no?
No, it froze for about
Okay.
a minute.
Yeah, okay. It was Augustin Clement.
Okay, I never heard of that guy.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's not legit. I just haven't heard him. I don't know every Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt in the world, But who trained Poirier? Poirier, I think, used to train. He trained at American Top Team. He might still train at ATT.
Yeah, but Taporia does also have a Greco-Roman wrestling background too.
Mm-hmm. All Topuria needs is a little Muay Thai, and he'd be the perfect weapon. You know what I mean? If he just went to
damn near
Thailand,
every fucking skill there is.
bro, if he just went to Thailand and trained for like years, like kicking banana trees and shit, all of a sudden he'd come back, he'd be the perfect weapon.
Dustin Poirier got his from Tim Creedor. I have absolutely no idea how in the fuck to pronounce that name.
Okay.
He coaches him at the Gladiators Academy in Lafayette.
But Dustin used to train at American Top Team, I'm pretty sure. All right, Alex. I would say weeks, not days. I would say at least 2 weeks before the fight. Go and get used to the go train in the heat, get your last runs in.
And Dustin got his black belt in 2017, and Ilya had his in 2018. So they roughly had it the same time. I'm not saying they're the same skill level. I'm just saying they roughly got it the same time.
Don't know how long they trained. Like, different people take different times to get their black belts. But let's get picks for this fight. So who are you taking, Max or Dustin?
Oh, fuck it. Give me Max to defend the BMF.
That's a bold pick.
Oh, I know.
You don't even have to ask me. You already know what
I was going to say, I knew before, just as soon as the fight got announced who you were picking.
Pay the cost to be the boss.
Let me rephrase that. I knew who you were picking before the fight even got announced.
Pay the cost to be the boss. Look at me. You know what you see? A bad mother. Dude, you know that Dustin comes out to that James Brown song, The Boss?
Mm-hmm.
That's the song that I was just singing, dude. I love that song. Even my kids know that song. Like, they hear that little bass, they hear that little, like, funky guitar strum. It's like, bam, 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 bam. They're like, and then my oldest daughter, she'd be like, pay the cost to be the boss.
Pay the cost to be the boss.
Pay the cost to be the boss.
You know what you see? You see a bad mother.
See what I'm saying? We are strong Diamond supporters in this house, dude.
I was going to say, do you have a picture of Dustin up on your wall somewhere?
No, I don't. Actually, I don't have pictures of anyone up on my wall. The only picture of anyone that I actually have in that sort of the picture of me, my daughters, my professor, Fabio Prado, and Master Carlson Gracie Jr. I have that picture on my desk, but I'm in the picture with Master Carlson. So.
Yeah, that's like pretty much the only one that I got is me with KGB.
Yeah, see?
Oh, nice.
So that's Master Carlson, and then my professor, or that's me next to him with my two daughters, and then my professor, and then on the left, or on the right, I should say, is Fabio Prado. He's a 5th degree black belt under Carlson Gracie, and he's the head jiu-jitsu coach of Team Alpha Male, Uriah Faber's academy. So he came when Master Carlson came to do a seminar at my academy. He brought Fabio with him. Fabio came, and Fabio, dude, that guy's fucking legit, man. Let me tell you, like, he's built like a brick shithouse. And so that dude's technique is raw, bro, like raw. It was interesting watching him and do techniques, and then watching Master Carlson, because Master Carlson is no spring chicken anymore, but he's to the point where he's done it for so long and he understands the feel of everything so well that he doesn't really have to put very much pressure on you, and you're gonna tap, dude. Like he showed us this one. We were doing, our seminar was on closed guard techniques, and he showed us this shoulder lock where he threw his leg. So we had a purple belt, Garrett. Garrett's a competitive purple belt. He wins gold at every tournament he goes to, damn near. He's a killer. And Master Carlson was demonstrating this technique, this shoulder lock. Garrett, he threw his leg over his head and had his other foot in his hip. And all he did, Master Carlson, he had his arm trapped, and all he did was literally just look this way. Like he didn't yank on it or anything like that. He just turned his head and turned his body a little bit. And Garrett was like, oh, tap, tap, oh. Like, dude, I've never heard Garrett make that sound in my life, dude. Like, usually Garrett's making other people make that sound. But he was like, oh, tap, tap, oh, tap. Like, he was in a lot of pain, dude. And from that moment, I was like, damn, dude, you don't, the Carlson, dude. Like, he doesn't have to put much pressure on you at all, and he's going to break something, dude. Like, he just, when you've been doing it that long, and you know the feel, you know what I mean? Like, everything you do is just super tight. It's like how I tell you when Professor demonstrates a technique on us, it's like he's not doing it to hurt you. And, he's not going to injure you. He's going to hurt you. He's not going to injure you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's going to hurt because it's supposed to hurt. And you're going to feel like your head's going to pop off because he's showing you how to put the pressure on, But his pressure is just so tight, dude. You're just like, feel like your head's about to get squeezed off sometimes, But I'm taking Dustin, and I don't expect, I'm not making like a prediction that Dustin is going to fight Ilya next, but I can just sort of looking at the tea leaves. I kind of feel like if Dustin wins this fight and wins it convincingly, the UFC stands to make some money.
I was going to say that's a very good way for the UFC to put the BMF belt on Ilya too.
Ilya's a good candidate for the BMF. He knocked out Max, so he should. He technically he is the BMF already. Like the BMF belt. I was going to say,
and that's with even out mentioning how he fucking made Charles Oliveira's eyes read tilt.
Yeah, but you're forgetting one key piece of that. He has to knock Dustin out first, and I'm not saying that. I don't think that's a guarantee at all. Like, I think Dustin is a live dog in that fight. So, and I definitely think that fight could be made if Dustin beats Max. I think the UFC at least offers it to him. I think they at least go and say, "Hey, look," because think about it, that fight would sell.
Oh, absolutely. I'd be fucking busting down doors to watch that fight.
Take my money, please. Right?
Oh, yeah, going full fry from Futurama.
Take my money now and shut up.
Uh-huh.
But unfortunately, we've come to that time of the show. We want to thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back next week. Ken, you got anything you want to say?
Hey, thanks for you guys that commented, and we're glad to have you a part with us, and we will see you next Wednesday.
Yeah, yo, it's game time, ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best.